The story of the $1,000,000 lesson. Building wealth through patience and persistence. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between mountains and rivers, there lived a young man named Samir. He had big dreams. Dreams of building a business that would one day bring him financial freedom, luxury, and security. But like many people, Samir didn't know where to start. He worked small jobs, saving a little money, but it never seemed to grow fast enough. One day, while working at a local market, Samir overheard an elderly merchant, Mr. Ahmed, telling a story to a group of villagers. The story caught Samir's attention, as Mr. Ahmed was known for his wisdom and success in building his business empire. Many years ago, Mr. Ahmed began, I, too, was like you, dreaming big, but with no clear path to reach those dreams. One day, I asked an old friend of mine, a successful businessman, what the secret was to building wealth. He smiled at me and said, the key is not to build millions in a day. It's about the small, consistent steps you take over time. Samir's ears perked up. Small, consistent steps? He had always thought that to build wealth, he needed a grand idea, a huge investment, or some magical shortcut. Mr. Ahmed continued, at first, I didn't understand what he meant. But then he shared a lesson with me that changed my entire outlook on life. Curious, Samir leaned in as Mr. Ahmed's voice grew softer, inviting the listeners into the heart of the story. One morning, Mr. Ahmed said, he asked me to come with him to a field. There, he handed me a small seed and said, this is how you will build your wealth. I thought it was strange. How could a small seed help me build a fortune? Your job, the businessman continued, is to plant this seed and care for it every day. Water it, ensure it gets sunlight, and give it the care it needs. Over time, it will grow, and with it, your wealth will grow too. Samir was puzzled. But that doesn't sound like much of a strategy for getting rich quickly. What's the point of this slow process, Mr. Ahmed smiled again. At first, it won't seem like much. You'll see little growth, but you must have patience. You see, over time, the seed will sprout, grow into a tree, and bear fruit. Eventually, that tree will not only give you fruit to eat but also seeds to plant and grow more trees. It's about the power of compound growth. In business, just like in nature, small efforts, made consistently, build something far greater than you could imagine. Samir left the market that day with a lot to think about. He didn't start his journey by trying to create a massive business in a year. Instead, he focused on small, steady steps, learning everything he could about business, saving a portion of his earnings, and being careful with his expenses. Every day, he made sure to take one step forward, no matter how small. As the years went by, Samir's business began to grow. At first, it was only a modest operation, but Samir's consistency paid off. He reinvested his profits back into his business, learned from his failures, and gradually expanded. He was careful to build strong foundations, just like the seed that Mr. Ahmed had planted. Samir's wealth didn't grow overnight. There were setbacks, mistakes, and moments of doubt, but he never gave up. He knew the value of patience and persistence. By his 40s, he had a thriving business empire, not just from his initial efforts but from years of consistent hard work, strategic thinking, and the ability to learn from his failures. One day, as Samir sat in his office overlooking his successful company, he realized something profound. The lesson that Mr. Ahmed had shared with him all those years ago was the foundation of his success. It was never about the big leaps. It was about the small, daily actions, compounded over time, that built the fortune he now had. As he reflected on his journey, Samir made a promise to himself. He would pass this lesson on to others, just as Mr. Ahmed had done for him. He wanted others to understand that the path to success wasn't about getting rich quickly. It was about taking small, deliberate steps each day, learning and growing. The true lesson was this: wealth doesn't come from a single grand idea, nor does it come overnight. It's the result of small, consistent actions that build upon each other over time. Patience, persistence, and learning from every step forward are the keys to building millions. And so, Samir not only became wealthy in financial terms but also in wisdom. He shared his story with others, and in doing so, he continued to plant seeds that would help others grow their own fortunes, one small step at a time. Moral of the story: Building wealth is not about seeking shortcuts or instant results. It's about taking small, consistent actions, learning from every step, and understanding that patience and persistence are the true drivers of success. If you stay committed, the results will compound and grow beyond your imagination.